Welcome, you guys, to the Affiliate Marketing Influencer Podcast. I'm your hostess, Stacia Kennedy. I'm so excited today, like I am every day, but I have the awesome Sheena Yap Chan. She actually is the founder of Tao of Self Confidence, and she interviewed me. I was actually featured on her podcast many moons ago. Like, I can't believe, I think we've probably known each other, been connected for like over 10 years. Welcome to the podcast, Sheena. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me, Stacia. It's an honor to be here today.
Yeah. So tell me what's been going on. So we met like 10 years ago when I actually had no self-confidence really. And when she messaged me, I was like, me? What do you mean? What are you talking about? And I was so happy to be there. And I think you've helped a lot of women across the world, especially in the Asian community. Like, what made you decide, like, this is what I'm going to do? And you've been so laser focused all these years about it.
Thanks. Well, when I first started, I had no confidence either. So, I mean, for anyone out there who feels like they can't start anything because they're not confident enough, you just have to go over that hoop, right? You just have to take action. But for me, it was just really having a support system, especially for women and especially for Asian women, because there wasn't a lot out there. I just felt like there wasn't anything, actually. It's just like coming from experience, like growing up as an Asian kid, it's not always easy, especially as an Asian woman. There's so many what you can or can't do, how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to sit, how you're supposed to eat, like, every little thing, right? And especially in Asia, where everyone's goal for a woman is to just get married and have kids, it's like, that's fine if you find the right person. But if not, I mean, it's not the right position to be in. So, I mean, I just want people, especially women out there, to realize they can go out there and do the things they want. It's not easy. I mean, you're going to go through some hurdles, of course, like anything else in life, but it'll be worth the ride. And just interviewing women from so many different, Asian countries or all over the world, different careers, different backgrounds, it just shows that anything is truly possible.
That's amazing. So I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of patterns now. I mean, this is something, that's why I love interviewing, because you see these patterns. I was inspired by Think and Grow Rich. So lately, a lot of my interviews too have been coming down to mindset. What are some of the mindset tips or things that you can share with us that you've learned through your podcast?
Some of the things I've noticed is that as women, we feel like we're not worthy. We're not worthy enough to go out there and follow our dreams. I want you to realize that you are more than worthy, and that, just because you feel like you're not ready, nobody's ever ready, right? I've noticed people who have 6-7 figure, salaries or not net worth. They didn't know what they were doing. They just decided they were going to go for it. And yeah, they made mistakes along the way, like everyone else, because, as Asians, we feel like we always have to be perfect and never make a mistake. And when we make a mistake, it's like failure, right? Failure is like huge. But, you have to change your mindset, thinking that failure is part of the process, and that it's not really failure if you keep going, right? If you keep picking yourself back up. And that's huge, because if we see failure as a positive, like in a positive perception versus like a negative thing, that really helps us build our self-esteem, right? And those are some of the things I've learned. Like, not everyone has it all figured out, and that's okay, right? You just figure it out along the way, and making mistakes happen. Sometimes our greatest mistakes will also lead us to our greatest opportunities. We just don't know, right? So, don't be afraid to make that mistake. I've made tons of mistakes, like way too many to count. And yeah, I still feel, there's times where I feel like, am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? And I have to tell myself that all the time, that I am, right? Learning to love yourself, because, and when you learn to love yourself, it's not just the good stuff, right? It's the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it's what makes us who we are, like authentically who we are. And I think that's what's missing in the world. Like, that authenticity is missing, because we live in the world where Instagram's filtered, every photo out there on the internet. And you just have to realize, just because you see that doesn't mean that's what really happens in the background. We never know, right? A picture can tell a lot of stories, but you never know unless someone truly, truly authentically shares their story out there.
Exactly. Fail forward, right?
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit more about, okay, so you started, doing these interviews, and did you know that you'd make money off of it? Or like, did you want to learn how to monetize? Like, what did you start doing? Like, how did it come into what it is today?
To be honest, I just started as a podcast. Maybe it's a passion project. And, along the way, I've created some products, created a course on podcasting, because when, 20 people in one day ask you, to make a podcast, I was like, maybe that's a sign.
Right.
Yeah, I've written books about it. So I'm not, like on confidence and podcasting. So, I mean, little things here and there and some affiliate products, right? It's like, what's the best mic to use? What's the best player to have? So, I mean, if you're referring it, why not make a little money on the side, right? So, I mean, those are some of the little things I've done here and there. And yeah, it's been, I've never really focused on the money-making part, because I know if I do, then it's just all about the money, and we forget why we do what we do, right? Most people, they are successful because of the foundation they've built, right? Having that why. And when we tend to shift away from that, we end up chasing the wrong things and attracting the wrong things into our life.
Awesome. So what were you doing before starting the podcast?
So before, I used to work in an office job. I was there for about 12 years, the same job. I mean, it's not that I didn't hate my job, but I just knew that there was something more to life. And, being a woman in an office setting, it's not always easy, right? I mean, you have men in the office who don't take you seriously. You have catty women, who get jealous of you. And that's just the truth, right? And then you get underappreciated, right? Like, you do so much work and you're like thinking, why am I doing so much work for somebody else when I can do this on my own? And yeah, it's going to be bumpy. It's going to suck. You're going to have to maybe stay up all night. But I mean, it's something that you can say it's your own, right?
Exactly.
And instead of, working for someone else. Like I said, if you love your job, that's great, right? Because not everyone hates their job,
right?
But if you do, I mean, then, maybe there's some way you can do it. And it's not like you can just quit your job and do something different. You can always do it on the side, right? There's so many people out there who started their careers as a side business and just, gradually convert it into a full-time gig. So, it's just taking baby steps. That's what I always say, because a lot of people, if they make a big leap and don't, it's okay. Oh my God, she's gorgeous. Hi.
Good morning.
So if people feel like they make that big leap and don't, get that goal that they want, they feel bad about themselves, right? But if you take, little steps, step by step every day, it makes a huge difference. They say, it's not always the big steps that count. It's those small, actionable daily steps that really yield the big results. So I hope I just answered your question. Sorry. Your daughter was like, oh, she's so cute.
Sorry. Yeah. Usually she's down, and I try to do these interviews in the mornings before she wakes up. But yeah, I mean, I totally was in the same place too. Like the last place I loved, my manager, but there was catty office people, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I here? I'm so called to do this, play with people online. I really feel like it's playing, but I really do think that I'm here for something, and I know that you're here for a bigger purpose. And look at it now. You probably didn't imagine what it was now. How many downloads do you have now? Thousands and hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even expect it to be to go up that high. I was happy if I had 100 downloads. And especially now that May is the month of Asian Heritage Month, right? It was really great to see Apple Podcasts feature my podcast on their Asian American or Asian Pacific collection for Asian Heritage Month, which is great, because when I first started, it was really, really difficult to find Asian hosted podcasts. It was I can count them in the palm of my hand, especially for females, right? And now when I see a list of this list, right, even though it's only 22 or 24 they featured, it was more than when I first started, right? And there's so many Asian people out there starting their own podcasts, right? I get emails all the time asking like, oh, I want to start a podcast, or I've listened to your podcast and because of it, I was able to start my own. And, it's great to hear that because, just helping one person can be a huge, accomplishment because you never know where that one person can go.
Yeah, I mean, so not only have you inspired other people to do podcasts, but just, helping people with more self-confidence and, it's okay, babe. And I'm so excited. Yeah, I mean, I had the same thought too. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, there's like nothing out there. There's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, every time I interview women, they're like, I wish I had this when I was younger. Because we all do wish for something like that, right? That's not taught in school or in your culture or Asian families. Like, it's very rare. Nobody tells you to take time for yourself.
That's so important. Self-care, no matter, what culture you're coming from. But yeah, I think as women too, yeah, it's like, we are the caretakers most of the time.
Yeah. And it's like you gotta like, make sure everyone else is happy. You forget about your own happiness. Like, are you happy? Do you ever question yourself, like, are you genuinely happy in your current situation? And when we ask the right questions, the right answers will appear.
That's a good one. Ask the right questions. I like that, especially in the coaching world. I have a lot of coaching friends, and I have a friend who kind of teaches people how to coach themselves. And sometimes we're not asking ourselves, the right questions. Awesome. So tell me a little bit more. Is there a theme? Do you have a theme for this year or this month, or like, what is your schedule with your podcast? What have you been doing now?
Well, right now I've taken a season break. I usually take season breaks just because I release 5 episodes a week when the season does come. So right now I've just been laying low. My sister recently had a baby, so I've been spending time with my nephew. He's so cute.
Noli cannoli.
Yes, Noli cannoli. So he's so cute. Oh my God, I love him. But yeah, I mean, in the next couple weeks or couple months, I'll restart, looking for guests, having interviews, checking out, Asian women. So that I've decided to focus on interviewing Asian women so that, there's a support system out there because, representation does matter, right? I get a lot of people saying, well, why only Asian women? Like, why can't we, why can't you have like a white woman or a black woman or an Indian? And like, it's like, yeah, they're great, right? But it's just, we have to see somebody that looks kind of like us to realize that it's possible. And, there's no offending anybody. It's something that's needed right now, especially, in this time where, as Asian representation keeps on increasing, it's slow, but it's getting there. We just need more and more resources out there to help, other people, other Asian kids or little girls or little boys to realize, like, I can do something outside being a doctor or a lawyer or, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it still happens today with our young, I guess I'm still considered a millennial too, but the younger, I don't know. I think we're at a different level of millennials. I don't know what the thing is, but there are still a lot of traditional ingraining and like, you gotta be a doctor or a lawyer, and people are still, spending, which hundreds and thousands of dollars in school now. Which education is still important, but there's so many other options. And I want to talk about the digital lifestyle that you have. This is awesome. This is what I've always craved for. And this is kind of basically why I do what I do, is so I can spend more time with this little one. And now you get to spend so much time with your little nephew. This, having your podcast, learning how to monetize it, and now you're actually teaching other people how to do it too, has allowed you to have these season breaks, right? Can you tell us a little more about how you've designed that life?
I guess learning to plan ahead is huge, having systems in place. I mean, that's what's really helped me, because if I don't plan ahead, like everything would just fall apart. So, you know, having systems, softwares that will like automate your work really does help. And, you know, if I can't do anything like like that's just not possible for me, I just learned to outsource it. So, outsourcing is huge. I mean, if you can afford it, great. If not, I mean, you know, you just have to learn to get resourceful.
So in the beginning, obviously, you probably were doing everything yourself. And then what I've been doing as well, too, is documenting it. So then I could eventually have, you know, people outsource it. Is that your...
Yeah, the one thing I didn't get to do is document stuff, but yeah, in the beginning, I did a lot of stuff on my own. I've learned to use systems. I've learned to use, you know, great sites like Fiverr to outsource little things here and there that, you know, will not be worth my time to do. I mean, for $5, $10, I'd rather just have someone else do it. And yeah, I mean, it's been great so far. And, you know, sometimes like, you know, you can actually, you know, look for interns if that's something you can't afford at the moment, right? You just give them a good recommendation. I mean, that's something that most people don't even think about, right? I noticed on someone else's Facebook that they had, I guess, an ad for interns in marketing and whatnot, and it helps them, you know, have the skills while you have someone do the work for you. So, I mean, little things here and there really help.
Awesome. So do you now have a course that has you put together now, or what?
Yeah. So I just have a podcasting course, just teaches you how to build a podcast from scratch, because it was a question that I got a lot all the time. Like, how do you start a podcast? What do I do? How do I put it to iTunes? You know, what do I need to start a podcast? So, you know, I have a small course for that, which is like on my website. And so far, that's the only online course I've really just created, just because it was something that most people asked about.
Awesome. And do you have sponsors, or like do you teach people how to get sponsorship, or how do people monetize?
Well, I haven't done sponsorship yet. I've had a couple people, you know, asking for sponsors or asking to sponsor shows, but I'm also very picky of who I want to bring as a sponsor, because it's really important to pick brands that represent you or represent what you believe in. So, I mean, yeah, you know, you can go find people out there to sponsor you, but if it doesn't, you know, doesn't connect with it
Be
doesn't
aligned,
feel right.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was true. If it's not in alignment, then, you know, I wouldn't, I tried not, I don't do it. Cause I feel like with branding, you really have like a moral responsibility out there to show who you are and what you represent. And the more you can be authentic and do that, the more you can attract the right things into your life. I mean, it's, you know, a little bit of a longer route and have a little bit of a delayed gratification, but to me, I think it's worth it in the end.
Awesome. Awesome sauce. So right now you're on a break. You're looking for more interviewees. What can I do to help you, or who specifically are you kind of looking for? Where can they like submit to, maybe, you know, be selected?
Oh, so I mean, for me, I'm just looking for women of Asian descent, right? Who want to share their story about their journey to self-confidence. I have a contact form on my website. You can go to the Tao of Self Confidence.com. There's a contact tab, and you can fill out their information. I get those. I get the messages. So yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of people who message me. It's just they weren't the criteria I wasn't looking for. And you know, it's not that they weren't great or anything. It's just I'm really specific that, you know, for me, I really do want to interview Asian women, because it's hard for Asian women to, number one, share their story and put their life out there, right? Especially when you have family and friends who might listen to it, or they, you know, you always have these like, what if they think I look stupid or I sound stupid? What if they don't like it? You know, the pleasing like factor that we've all been ingrained with. So, you know, I want them to get out of that comfort zone and help them share their story out, so it builds their own confidence to go out there and do other stuff.
Awesome. Yes, I know so many people, but then I think I go and introduce you, and I'm like, oh, you already interviewed.
Yes, I remember you shared Linda, and I was like, yeah, I've already interviewed her.
We all have, well, you know, like attracts like. So I'm so excited. We'll keep stay tuned to the Tao of Self Confidence, you guys. Do you have any last words or last quote to help people that we can share with the audience?
Well, for a last quote, I usually just, say behind every successful woman is herself. So I want women to realize they're more than enough to go out there and do what they love. And, to be honest, it's not always easy, right? We will go through challenges and roadblocks and setbacks, but if it's how you move forward that matters the most, right? I mean, we are all very scared to go out there and do something. I mean, I still get scared, right? I still, overanalyze things, and it's normal, right? We're human, we're not perfect. And I think that's the main thing. Like, we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, and that's totally okay.
Yeah, it's actually a sign, and I think it's a good sign. Like, feel the fear and do it anyway. I think that always comes to me. Well, thank you so much again, Sheena, and you guys can find all of our information in the show notes below. And you know what I always say, thanks for being here. Much love and aloha. We'll see you on the next video.
Thanks for having me.